Rumors beneath Blackwater Prison. Rain crashed against the walls of Blackwater State Prison. Rolled across the Florida sky while prison guards walked the dark hallways during the night shift. Officer Marcus Reed hated storms. Storms made the prison feel alive. The old pipes roared, lights flickered, water dripped through cracks in the ceiling. And worst of all, the prisoners became restless. Marcus walked slowly through cell block D with a flashlight hanging from his belt. The prison was over 60 years old, and everybody inside knew it. The walls smelled like rust and wet concrete. Some guards joked that Blackwater Prison was falling apart one brick at a time. Others said the place was cursed. Marcus did not believe in ghosts, but he did believe people could become monsters, especially inside Blackwater. A loud voice suddenly echoed through the cells. "Hey Reed." Marcus turned. An inmate named Leon Connor stood near the bars smiling. "You hear the noises again last night?" Marcus sighed immediately. "Not this again." Leon laughed. "You guards act tough until the tunnels start talking." Several inmates nearby laughed loudly. Marcus kept walking. The tunnel rumors had existed for years. Old underground tunnels supposedly ran beneath the prison from the 1950s. Some prisoners believed the tunnels connected to abandoned buildings outside the walls. Others claimed prisoners once escaped through them decades ago. Most guards thought the stories were stupid. Marcus included. The rumors never disappeared. Every few months somebody claimed they heard digging beneath the floors, or footsteps inside the walls, or whispering under the cells late at night. Usually it turned out to be broken pipes, or rats. Blackwater had plenty of rats. Marcus reached the end of the hallway and stopped beside cell 42. Inside sat Nathan Cole. Nathan was different from the other inmates. Too calm. Too quiet. Most prisoners shouted or caused trouble. Nathan never did. He simply sat on his bed reading old books with a strange smile on his face. Marcus shined his flashlight inside the cell. "You good?" Nathan slowly looked up. His pale eyes almost seemed empty. "Did you ever wonder," Nathan asked softly, "what's beneath your feet?" Marcus rolled his eyes. "Everybody's talking about tunnels tonight?" Nathan smiled slightly. "The tunnels are real." Marcus chuckled. "Sure they are." Nathan looked back down at his book. "You'll believe me soon." Marcus walked away annoyed. The man always spoke like that. Quiet. Cold. Like he knew secrets nobody else knew. And somehow, that made Marcus uncomfortable. 1 hour later, the prison cafeteria sat almost empty. Night guards drank stale coffee while rain pounded the windows outside. Officer Danny Ruiz sat beside Marcus eating chips. "You look nervous," Danny said. Marcus shrugged. "Inmates won't stop talking about tunnels." Danny laughed loudly. "Man, those stories are older than this prison." Marcus nodded. "I know." Danny leaned back in his chair. "My grandfather actually worked here years ago." Marcus looked over curiously. "Seriously?" "Yep." Danny pointed downward dramatically. "He used to say prisoners helped build underground maintenance tunnels after hurricanes." Marcus smirked. "And?" Danny lowered his voice jokingly. "He claimed some tunnels were sealed because inmates disappeared down there." Marcus shook his head. "You're making that up." Danny laughed again. "Probably." Suddenly the cafeteria lights flickered. Then flickered again. The room went quiet. One guard muttered softly. "Storm's messing with the power." Marcus stared toward the dark hallway outside the cafeteria. For a second, he thought he heard metal banging somewhere deep below the prison floor. Clang. Marcus looked down. Another sound. Very faint. Like something moving underground. Danny noticed Marcus listening. "You hear that?" Marcus nodded slowly. Before either man could speak again, the prison alarm exploded through the building. Beep, beep, beep. Every guard jumped to their feet instantly. Emergency red lights flashed across the cafeteria walls. Marcus grabbed his radio. "Control, what happened?" Static answered first. Then a panicked voice screamed through the radio. "Possible inmate escape. Cell block D." Marcus and Danny sprinted from the cafeteria immediately. Boots pounded across the prison floor while alarms screamed endlessly overhead. Inmates shouted from behind locked cells as guards rushed through the hallways. Cell block D was chaos when Marcus arrived. Guards crowded around cell 42. Nathan Cole's cell. Marcus pushed through the crowd. Then froze. The cell door remained locked. The bars were untouched. But Nathan was gone. Completely gone. Officer Harper stood pale beside the cell. "I checked him 20 minutes ago," she whispered. Marcus stared inside carefully. The bed remained neatly made. Books stacked perfectly. Sink dripping slowly. But no prisoner. Danny looked terrified. How is that possible? Nobody answered. Because nobody understood. The warden arrived moments later. Warden Graves was a huge man with gray hair and sharp eyes that scared even the guards. What happened? He barked. Officer Harper swallowed hard. The inmate vanished, sir. The warden glared at her. Vanished? Marcus stepped closer to the cell. Something near the bed caught his attention. Mud. Tiny muddy footprints. Very fresh. Marcus crouched slowly. The muddy marks led directly beneath Nathan's metal bed frame. His heartbeat quickened. Move the bed. 2 guards pulled the heavy bed aside. The room suddenly became silent. Because hidden beneath the bed was a square hole cut into the concrete floor. Darkness waited below it. Officer Danny whispered softly. No way. Cold air drifted upward from the opening. Marcus grabbed his flashlight carefully and aimed downward. A rusty ladder disappeared deep underground. The tunnel rumors were real. The prison quickly entered full lockdown. Every inmate returned to their cells. Armed guards surrounded the prison walls. Searchlights swept across the storm outside. But Marcus could not stop staring into the dark hole beneath Nathan's cell. Warden Graves turned toward him. You're going down there. Marcus looked up immediately. With respect, sir, we should wait for backup. The warden's voice hardened. If Nathan Cole escapes this prison, every newspaper in Florida will destroy us by morning. Marcus knew he was right. Nathan Cole was dangerous. 3 years earlier, he had been arrested for kidnapping and murdering several people across southern Florida. The case terrified the entire state. Nathan never confessed, never cried, never showed emotion, even during trial. Some reporters called him the smiling man. Others called him a monster. Marcus grabbed a flashlight and body camera from the security room. Officer Danny loaded his weapon nervously beside him. You really think he's down there? Marcus looked toward the dark tunnel opening. Yes. Danny swallowed hard. And if he isn't? Marcus did not answer. Because he did not want to think about that possibility. Minutes later, Marcus climbed down the rusty ladder first. The air underground felt cold and wet. The smell was horrible. Rotting wood. Rust. Dirty water. His flashlight shook slightly while he reached the bottom. The underground tunnel stretched endlessly in both directions. Old pipes covered the ceiling. Water dripped from cracks above. Danny climbed down beside him. This place is huge. Marcus nodded slowly. The tunnel walls looked ancient, like nobody had touched them for decades. Yet muddy footprints covered the ground. Fresh footprints. Nathan's footprints. Marcus followed them deeper underground. The tunnel twisted beneath the prison like a maze. Some passages collapsed completely. Others stretched into darkness far beyond the flashlight beams. Then Marcus noticed something strange on the wall. Scratches. Dozens of scratch marks carved into the concrete. Danny aimed his flashlight closer. Words. Someone had written messages across the wall. He is watching. Don't trust the guards. They left us here. Danny stepped backward nervously. What the hell is this place? Marcus suddenly noticed another sound ahead. Metal scraping. Very faint. He raised his flashlight immediately. Nathan. No answer. Only darkness. Then, a soft laugh echoed through the tunnel. Marcus froze instantly. Danny whispered beside him. You heard that too, right? The laugh came again. Closer this time. Marcus aimed the flashlight deeper into the tunnel. For one terrifying second, he saw a figure standing far ahead in the darkness. Nathan Cole. Smiling. Then the flashlight flickered. And the figure vanished. Danny grabbed Marcus's arm. Tell me you saw him. Marcus nodded slowly. The tunnel suddenly felt much colder. Then they discovered the door. An old metal maintenance door hidden inside the wall. Half rusted. Slightly open. Marcus carefully pushed it wider. His flashlight revealed something impossible. A hidden underground room. Inside were blankets, bottled water, canned food, flashlights, maps of the prison, and dozens of photographs taped to the walls. Photos of guards, security schedules, camera locations. Marcus felt fear crawl through his chest. Nathan had been planning this for a very long time. Then Danny noticed something else in the corner. A television monitor. Still powered on. Connected to prison security cameras. Marcus stared at the screen in disbelief. Someone inside Blackwater Prison had been helping Nathan. Suddenly the monitor flickered. Static filled the screen. Then a face slowly appeared. Nathan Cole. smiling directly into the camera. "Good evening, Officer Reed." Marcus's blood ran cold. Nathan's voice crackled softly through hidden speakers inside the room. "You should have listened to the rumors. The tunnels were never empty." Marcus stepped backward so fast he nearly dropped his flashlight. Nathan's face still smiled from the old television screen. The picture flickered with static. Rain crackled faintly through the speakers. Then Nathan spoke again. "You finally found my home." Danny raised his weapon immediately. "Where are you?" Nathan laughed softly. The sound echoed through hidden speakers somewhere inside the underground room. Marcus looked around quickly. Nathan could be watching them right now. "You're not escaping," Marcus shouted. Nathan tilted his head slowly on the screen. "Escape." He smiled wider. "You still don't understand." The monitor suddenly turned black. Silence filled the underground room. Only dripping water remained. Danny whispered nervously, "This guy's insane." Marcus stepped toward the wall covered in photos. Every guard inside Blackwater Prison had been watched. Some pictures were old. Very old. Years old. Nathan had been studying the prison for a long time. Then Marcus noticed one photograph hanging separately from the others. Warden Graves. A red circle had been drawn around his face. Underneath the photo, somebody had written, "He knows." Marcus stared at the message carefully. Danny looked over his shoulder. "What does that mean?" Marcus did not answer, because suddenly, something felt wrong. Very wrong. If Nathan built this hidden room underground, how did nobody notice? And how did electricity reach this place? Somebody inside the prison had definitely helped him. Maybe for years. Marcus grabbed his radio. "Control, we found a hidden room beneath the prison. Nathan has access to security cameras." Static answered. Then a broken voice crackled through. "Repeat, signal weak." The radio suddenly died completely. Danny frowned. "That's not good." Marcus looked upward toward the ceiling. They were deep underground now. Too deep. Then they heard footsteps. Running footsteps. Somewhere inside the tunnels. Marcus shut off his flashlight instantly. Darkness swallowed the room. The footsteps grew louder. Danny whispered, "Someone's coming." Marcus slowly pulled his weapon. The footsteps stopped outside the metal door. Silence. Marcus could hear his own breathing. Then, bang. The metal door slammed shut violently. Danny jumped backward. What the? Heavy metal locks clicked from outside. They were trapped. Danny rushed toward the door and slammed his shoulder against it. Nothing moved. Marcus grabbed the handle and pulled hard. Lock. Danny cursed under his breath. "He locked us in here." Marcus aimed his flashlight around the room again. There has to be another exit. But the room had none. Only concrete walls. Old pipes. The television monitor. And the photographs. Danny wiped sweat from his forehead nervously. How long has he been hiding down here? Marcus stared at the supplies stacked against the wall. A long time. Then the monitor suddenly turned back on by itself. Nathan appeared again. This time his face looked closer. Almost too close. "You should leave the tunnels," Nathan whispered. Marcus stepped toward the screen angrily. "Who's helping you?" Nathan ignored the question. "The prison buried secrets down here." Danny shouted at the screen. "Open the door." Nathan smiled softly. "You're standing on top of graves." The monitor suddenly shut off again. Danny looked disturbed now. "What does that mean?" Marcus looked toward the scratched messages on the walls outside the room. "They left us here." A terrible feeling settled inside his chest. Then his flashlight beam landed on something near the floor. Bones. Human bones. Half hidden beneath old blankets. Danny saw them too. "Oh my God." Marcus crouched carefully beside the remains. The bones looked old. Very old. Then he noticed something beside them. A rusted prison badge. Marcus wiped dirt from the metal slowly. The name barely remained visible. Officer Bennett. Danny's eyes widened immediately. "Bennett?" Marcus looked up sharply. "You know him?" Danny nodded slowly. "My grandfather told me about him." Marcus stood carefully. "What happened?" Danny swallowed hard. 30 years ago, a prison guard disappeared during a blackout. Marcus stared at the skeleton again. Nobody ever found him. Until now. Suddenly the lights inside the hidden room flickered. What? Twice. Then complete darkness filled the room. Danny cursed loudly. "Flashlight's dead." Marcus hit his flashlight hard. Nothing. Pitch black darkness surrounded them completely. Then came the whispering. Soft whispers echoed through the tunnels outside. Marcus froze. At first he thought it was the storm above. But no. Voices. Human voices. Whispering. Crying. Danny sounded terrified now. Marcus? Then footsteps circled outside the room slowly. One step at a time. Scrape. 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 Marcus gripped his weapon tighter. Whoever stood outside the door was moving very slowly, enjoying this. Then came Nathan's voice from the darkness outside. You found Officer Bennett. Danny backed away immediately. Marcus aimed blindly toward the door. You killed him? Nathan laughed softly. No. A pause followed. The prison did. The footsteps continued moving outside. Marcus realized something horrifying. Nathan knew these tunnels perfectly. But he was not alone down here. Then something metal slid beneath the locked door. Marcus carefully crouched and grabbed it. A prison key. Danny stared. Why would he give us that? Marcus unlocked the door slowly. The metal door creaked open. The tunnel outside stood empty. No sign of Nathan. Only darkness. Marcus stepped into the tunnel carefully. His flashlight suddenly flickered back to life. The beam revealed fresh muddy footprints leading deeper underground. Danny looked exhausted already. This guy's playing games with us. Marcus nodded. Yes. Then he noticed another tunnel branching left. This one looked different. Cleaner. Newer. Electrical wires ran along the walls. Danny pointed ahead. Look. A dim light glowed farther down the tunnel. Marcus moved slowly toward it. The air became warmer. The tunnel walls looked recently repaired. Then voices echoed ahead. Marcus instantly raised his fist for silence. Two men were talking somewhere nearby. Marcus and Danny crept forward quietly until they reached another hidden room. Marcus peeked around the corner. His stomach dropped instantly. A prison guard stood inside the room. Officer Lewis, one of Blackwater's senior guards. Lewis handed a bag of supplies to Nathan Cole calmly. Like this was normal. Danny whispered in disbelief. No way. Marcus stepped into the room immediately. Hands where I can see them. Lewis spun around in panic. Nathan smiled calmly from the corner chair. Almost relaxed, like he expected this moment. Lewis raised his hands slowly. Marcus aimed directly at Nathan. It's over. Nathan tilted his head slightly. Is it? Suddenly all the tunnel lights shut off again. Darkness exploded across the underground passage. Then gunshots erupted. Bang. Danny shouted. Marcus ducked instantly behind a metal pipe. Another gunshot echoed violently through the tunnel. Screaming followed. Then silence. Marcus switched on his flashlight wildly. The beam shook across the room. Officer Lewis lay bleeding on the ground. Nathan was gone. Again. Danny rushed toward Lewis. He's hit. Lewis grabbed Marcus's arm weakly. His breathing sounded terrible. Blood covered his uniform. Marcus crouched beside him quickly. Where did he go? Lewis looked terrified. He's not trying to escape. Marcus leaned closer. What do you mean? Lewis coughed painfully. There's another tunnel? Marcus frowned. Where does it lead? Lewis's eyes filled with fear. Under the prison hospital. Marcus's heartbeat stopped. The prison hospital sat directly beneath the women's inmate wing. Over 60 people slept there at night. Danny looked horrified. Why would Nathan go there? Lewis grabbed Marcus harder. You don't understand? Marcus stared at him. Understand what? Lewis whispered shakily. He's looking for someone. Before Marcus could ask another question, the entire prison alarm screamed again above them. Beep, beep, beep. Then a terrified voice exploded through Marcus's radio. Officer down in the medical wing. Marcus and Danny looked at each other instantly. Nathan had reached the prison hospital.